Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Will's Vlog Zone here today. So today we're going to be checking out 1 versus $1 trillion homes. We're on a mission to reach 1,000 subscribers, so make sure to subscribe and like today's video to get us closer to our goal. Now let's get right into today's video. Alright guys, so the way I figured out how much each house is worth is to Google how much a cubic meter of a certain material is worth in the game. So as you can see right here, I have all the materials that I measured. If you guys want to pause the video, you can look and see how much one thing is worth. Like cobblestone's $230. A door is over $500. A stone sword is almost $550. A furnace, very expensive, it's almost $2,000. The most expensive block is very close to $2,000. We also got some other items like paper for $2, leather for $80, a bed for about $550, a pre-bed over there for, I don't know the price tag, and a block of wool for about $100 a block. Alright guys, so next up for the house, we get a much better deal. For about $266.75, we actually get a roof over our heads. Barely. We get a torch here for around $80, and a few blocks of dirt as well. It's pretty small, but hey, at least you got a roof over your heads. Alright guys, so second of all, we have the next house. For about $500, you get an even bigger house, but it's mainly still just dirt. The only difference between this house and the previous is you use the extra about $300 for more dirt. That's pretty much all you get with this, is just a little bit more of an actual roof over your head. But the next one is way better. Alright guys, the third house is worth about $1,000. As you can see, it's still really tiny. But hey, this time you actually have a door and a torch on the inside for lighting. Basically, the only change for this one is that you get some more dirt and it's a little bit bigger, plus you got a door. But one thing that really throws things into perspective on how cheap dirt is compared to the door literally takes up half the price of this entire house. Now that is just insane. But would you guys buy this house for $1,000? Alright guys, so the next house is worth about $2,500. So, the change this time is it's a little bit bigger, it's got dirt around the corner so it's more stable, and you actually get some amenities on the inside of the house. This time we actually have a bed to sleep in and a crafting table, which is insane since this is about $2,500. About $1,000 of that, or about $1,300, is spent on just the bed, crafting table, and door alone. Literally, the inside amenities cost more than the exterior of the house combined, which is crazy to me. Alright guys, the fifth house in this lineup is worth about just over $5,000, about $5,093.60. For this price tag, you get a window, you get a door, and you get even more inside amenities. You get a furnace now for the first time, which means for the first time in these houses, you can actually cook food. So an $1,800 furnace plus a chest, which is about $700, give or take, which you can actually store stuff now. And overall, the house is just a little bit bigger on the inside. It's more like a 3x3 instead of like a 2x4 on that one. So, a lot better than the previous one, but, double the cost. Alright guys, the next one is where things really start getting good, but the price also starts getting really up there. So, for this price tag, you can actually switch to wood as your building material for the first time. We actually have the money to pay for 2 torches on the outside. We get a cobblestone floor instead of a grass floor. And we get the same amenities minus a furnace. So essentially, you get to have wood and cobblestone floors, but on the downside, you don't get a furnace. So you can't cook your own food in this one. So minus one amenity from the other one. Alright guys, next up is the sixth house in the lineup, which I personally really like. This is basically your average village house from before a certain village update. In real life, this would cost about $23,195.85 to make. For this price tag, you actually get a lot more. You're actually able to have a cobblestone foundation to the building with a cobblestone stair into it, double torches on the outside, and you actually get all four amenities for the inside, including a nice bed, crafting table, furnace, and chest right here. You actually get it all. You get a third torch on the inside, and you get not one, not two, but three window panes on the inside, which are a window pane, if you saw earlier, is about $14.24 if you do the math correctly. Alright guys, the next house is way nicer, but it's also over double the price. It's about $54,140.94. For this price tag, you actually get way more. So you get two torches on the outside with double stairs and double doors. You get two furnaces with one stacked on top of each other. You get a double chest with three more torches on the inside of the house, not just one. For the first time ever, you get bookshelves, which, if you saw earlier, a bookshelf is about $2,000 a block, which means just right here is $6,000 for these bookshelves. You get double beds for about $1,000, and a crafting table all on top of that. But on the downside, it is cobblestone floor, but pretty much every house is cobblestone floor, which ain't really bad. But also, for this insane price tag for the first time, you get an actual roof, an actual sloped roof, not just the flat roof of the previous house. You actually get a more fancy design. Plus, not just three windows, you get four window panes for a little over $100, which pretty nice, pretty sweet. This right here is the seventh building in the lineup, and it is also the last simple house that your average everyday person could afford who has a decent steady job. This house costs about $150,000 give or take. It has two stories. Be in mind you, there are no amenities on the inside because the house alone already cost $150,000. As you can see, it's got double doors. It's got a balcony with over 10 torches on the entire property. It's got a nice little room over here. It's got a staircase for the first time. By the way, wooden stairs, they're expensive. They got a nice upper floor, even more windows. There's like 10 times as many windows in this house than the previous. There's like 35 window panes in total. You get a nice outlook to the rest of the houses, so property values better be shooting up. You got an even more fancy roof that is more like a 45-degree angle roof rather than more like a 20-degree angle for the house before. And it's actually elevated off the rest of the ground, unlike the other houses. So you get an elevated plane, meaning you don't need stairs to walk into your house. Now let me know, guys, would you guys be able to pay for this? And if you could, would you be willing to pay for a house like this in real life? Alright guys, I know I said 1 versus $1 trillion house in the title, and believe me, we're getting there. Because right now we have a solid gold house, which, according to the math, this is a cubic meter of gold, which in US currency is worth about $120 to $130 million. Times that by 96, and plus the other amenities inside the house. Even though this is a relatively simple design, you get a price tag of $12 billion, which is insane. It's literally more than all of those combined several times over. And the more crazy thing is, there are some people in real life that could literally afford this. There are some people that could afford like 10 of these. It's insane how rich some people are in the real world. Alright guys, now we have the $12 trillion house. Believe it or not, this house is worth $12 trillion, and I can prove it. So, according to the math, since this is a cubic meter of diamond, in American currency, that is about $128 billion. Times that by 96, which is how many blocks are in this building, you come out to a price tag of about $12 trillion. Which, just for sheer scale and reference, the biggest company on the planet, which is worth the most money, is Nvidia, which is only worth $4.2 trillion, or not even 50% of this house. So, nobody or any company on Earth alone could buy out this house, which is crazy. And there are only literally 2 countries in the world that have a bigger GDP than this house: China and the United States, which really puts things into perspective now. Alright guys, you're probably going to call me crazy for this now, but before we get to the next house, let me show you. This block right here is worth $224 trillion, and you'll be like, what? How is it worth that much? Well, on the inside, there's countless blocks of diamonds. There's thousands of blocks of diamonds right here in this shulker. Since I already proved that one block is worth about 128 billion, imagine like 2,000 blocks of diamonds. That is worth about $224 trillion, which, if you build a house out of shulker boxes full of diamonds, by the way, these aren't full of diamonds, but if they were, then that would come out to a total price tag of $21.5 quadrillion. Just for sheer reference and scale, the entire Earth is only worth about $5 quadrillion, with current estimations from colleges across America, which means with this house, you could literally buy the Earth 4.3 times over. It is insane. Like, when you get to a price tag of such sheer scale, it doesn't even matter what building blocks you put on the inside, because it doesn't even change the entire price tag of the build, which I am pretty sure this is the theoretical limit for how dense of an expensive building you can make in Minecraft. The shulker box is the most expensive block in the game, depending on what blocks you put in it. I could technically make this house bigger and make it worth hundreds of quadrillions of dollars, but in just this sheer simple instance, this building is worth $21.5 quadrillion. I know there isn't a price tag on Mars or Venus, but if there was, you could probably afford the entire inner solar system with this amount of money, which is just crazy. Alright guys, I hope you liked today's video. If you did, or if you didn't, still, make sure to subscribe and like today's video. I hope you guys were impressed of how expensive of a building I managed to find or calculate the price for. But let me guys know, would you be able to, or would you be willing to buy any of these houses in today's video? Bye.